The motivation for Brainworx to go into the direction of virtual instruments was that we looked at our portfolio of mixing and mastering tools that we've been building over the years, and we're quite successful in modeling analog circuits and bringing them alive in the box. Analog synthesizers are very close to the analog modeling we've been doing so far, and we looked at our skills and we said, okay, why don't we apply those to virtual instruments, to a new field? So the natural progression for us was to reproduce classic analog synthesizers. During the last months, we've taken a close look at, first of course, at the circuits of analog classics, of analog synthesizers, and then we've taken the leap and gotten ourselves a couple of them here and played with them and kind of, looked at them with oscilloscopes and looked into the details of them. And the biggest challenge was to understand, can we use our skill set to reproduce those? Is that, close to what we know, or is it something completely different? We had to model things that we hadn't modeled before, circuits that behave differently, so we had a lot of challenges on that side. Another thing that we did is we wanted to bring something to the table that our customers really want to use, and that's something that differentiates us from other products in the market. The BX Oberhausen is not the reproduction of a single synthesizer, but of a couple of analog circuits and synthesizers that have been around in the 70s and 80s. And we wanted to reproduce them in a way that really makes them sound analog. And one of the things we did is we added our tolerance modeling technology, which basically models the tolerances of all the parts and components inside a synthesizer. And that's actually what an analog synthesizer would do. It would sound different on each voice, and that's what our synthesizer does. And another thing we did is we wanted to add mid-side processing, something we're very well known for. And how do you add that to a synthesizer? That was a challenge. We found a nice way to do that with a filter section that's non-intruding, but still gives you a lot of diverse things to play with, to create a lot of diverse sounds. Another thing that we've been doing is we added a modulation section, obviously, because the synthesizer itself is a little limited, because that's basically what the synthesizers back in those times were. They didn't have 13 oscillators, but 2 and 1 filter, and that's it. And we didn't want to break with that, but we wanted to add things that give you all the tools that you need to produce modern sounds. So we have a modulation section, we have the arpeggiator as it would have been in the 70s and 80s. One of the things that, for example, we're quite proud of is that we have a huge range of effects that we have put in there, and they're basically small brothers and sisters of the bigger effects that we have in our portfolio. I have to say, of course, we're already working on the next steps. We've really enjoyed working on this project, and all the engineers were already early asking for, when can we do the next one? What's the next one, Christian? We've selected something, you'll be surprised, because most of you may not even have heard of it. It's something that's well known in the industry, and a lot of people that we all worship and like use this instrument, so we're really looking forward to bringing you that one. It's a beast. And of course, we have other things lined up, and we are working on making this a full-blown portfolio of virtual instruments.